Okay, so I'm going to attempt to explicate my neurosis a bit. We'll see how it goes. I don't really know where to start. I think that, okay, so we'll start with a self-belief, a core belief, which I think is that I'm unlovable, which I believe comes from how I didn't receive any, I didn't have I didn't perceive any attraction from the opposite sex until I was like 18, nearly 19. I never had any romantic pursuits until that age, and I believe I was mollycoddled by my mum, and I think I have the belief that I can only be loved by my mum, and I think this taints and pervades all my interactions with women, especially those whom I am interested in, because I think a core fundamental level I believe that it will not go well, simply because I don't believe I'm worthy of the affection from her. So that's one part of it, my neurosis. Another part would be that I think I have a neurotic pride in my self-awareness and my intelligence. I believe that at some level I think I am superior to those around me in terms of mostly self-awareness and secondly, a lot of the time, intellect. I think I use this to feel superior to others because I feel insecure in myself. I have this basic anxiety that I developed throughout childhood, which basically is not receiving enough affection or care or attention, whatever, as a child in some area or areas. And this has produced a basic anxiety which has made me feel that I am me versus the world to some extent. And thus I've developed I felt a need to somehow relate to others, and I do this through in some way feeling superior, and I think I want to feel superior in terms of intellect and self-awareness, and this is likely one of the motivators toward my reading of more difficult books, because I want to at some level feel superior, more intellectual and wiser than those around me, and this is just another manifestation of my neurosis. I also think that I deify and hold reason to be absolutely perfect, and I think I see myself as having the ability to wield reason in its absolute form. I think that I should have access to perfect reason, and thus I should never err. I should never, make errors, and I should never be imperfect. And I think that my, belief in absolute reason and my having access to it has caused a self-hatred, because I believe that I shouldn't be able to make error. And when I do make error, I don't feel it's ever justified, because I believe I have access to perfect reason, untainted reason. And I don't accept my imperfections and the fact that there is no absolute perfection, and I guess my perception of reason is tainted by, is shaped by my history, my background, my interests, etc. This also my belief that I should be perfect potentially corrupts my pursuits toward things. So when I endeavour towards something like this software development thing, I feel I should be all or nothing. I feel I should be, let's for example start with all, because when I started it I saw it was like the best thing I could do in life at that point, and I shouldn't be able to I should be able to put all my effort into it and all my hours of my days into it, because I saw it as the highest value. And when I would fall behind and I wouldn't program as much that day, and I'd only do 6 hours instead of 7 hours or something, I saw myself as being flawed and being bad, because I saw myself as not having a reason not to be able to put all my effort into it. I thought I should be able to put all my effort into it, and I don't like when the people walk behind outside my room. I worry they're listening in. That's irrational, but that's the truth. What was I going to say? Yeah, and then what I do is I will I'll frustrate my efforts, because I will basically stop doing something like I haven't programmed in a few days, and that was after taking like a week off programming, just over a week off, and that was because I was like, well, I can't be perfect in it, thus I shouldn't do it at all, because whenever I do it, I'm not perfect, and then I realise my imperfection, and then that makes me even feel more self-hatred. That makes sense, right? I want to do something to perfection because I feel I should be able to do it to perfection, because I have access to reason and because it is of highest value to me. But then I do it, and I try to do it, I do it imperfectly, and I feel bad because I feel I should be able to do it perfectly, and then I stop doing it completely because I don't want to continue feeling self-hatred. Okay, that's one pretty big manifestation of my neurosis. Like when I did my jogging, I was like, must beat my record, must do better than yesterday, because there's no reason I shouldn't be able to do better than yesterday, because I know that jogging makes me feel mentally clear, it makes me fitter, it makes me feel less insecure in other areas, makes me feel more confident, I'll get in better shape, and getting in better shape is something I believe is valuable to me, so I should be able to do it every day better and better and better. And then I'd get to a point where I got to a point where I had an injury, and so I just stopped completely. And even after the injury faded, I just stopped completely, because I wasn't as good as I was before, and because of that I just didn't want to face failure or face not being as good as I once was. Okay, there are a few things. I might look in my book. Oh yeah, this is what I'm reading to get all this, to acquire this knowledge, whatever, this awareness of my neurosis. There is a lot I could talk about, I think. I think that's probably it for today, maybe. I'll just think if I can summarise or see anything else worth talking about. I guess to go from here, I have a point of confusion, which is about my real self and my ideal self. So my ideal self is basically this person who is great with women and has sexual relationships whenever he wants, at his whim basically, and well, maybe not that, but is able to just be intimate and find a romantic relationship quite easily and whatever, maybe, but it's something pertaining to sex and romance and intimacy. So he's that. He's also incredibly fit, he's also perfectly productive, and he endeavours toward self-realisation and enlightenment or whatever every day, like through meditation, journaling. He's also an author and is financially free from having his books published. That's like my ideal self. These are goals, and this is where I become confused, because I believe that these are things I want, but the neurosis has essentially tainted these goals or whatever, or my endeavouring toward these goals, in the sense that when I endeavour toward them, a lot of the time, if I'm not doing it perfectly or whatever, I'll feel bad, and then this will make me, it will what's the word? It'll frustrate my efforts even more. Fuck's sake. But yeah, I'll basically stop, heading toward these goals, and I'll feel bad, and this will perpetuate and exacerbate and my anxiety. It will exacerbate my anxiety, and my anxiety will furthermore stop me from pedaling toward these goals. And yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about today. I think I'll talk more about this sort of shit as I continue to read. I'd also like to look back through these notes I've made and write down and make videos on it and shit, because it's quite fascinating. And yeah, as I said, doing all this is part of my pride. It's not wrong. I mean, I think I'm aware of that, you know, doing this self-awareness stuff is part of what I'm proud of and part of what I do to make me feel superior than others. And that's not the sole reason I do this stuff, but I believe that this is part of the motivation. And that's it.